Salute and thank you, NERDSoul. Lay Ill Kid at OneYoungsta holding down, bringing that Street Geek and NERDSoul. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. Let's go, man. It's about to be fun. It's about to be a whole lot of fun because we here talking about Daredevil. Don't worry about anything. Don't care about anything. Just push that aside because now we just chilling with Matt Murdock, y'all. That's all we doing. So we ain't by ourselves. Right over here or here, we have writer director extraordinaire. I give to you, Jay Shearer. What's up?
It's a pleasure to be here. Always good to talk with you, Michael. Always good to have Solar in the house, or I should say, in the tower.
Yes.
So it should be good. It should be a good episode. This was an interesting one for me. So we'll get into it. But I was a little bit different than I expected, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, in the other square, we have the wizard himself, Solar Greye. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Solar Greye, the cinematic sorcerer, coming at you from the Wizard's Tower. Sorry it took me so long to get here. I was just coming back from Party City to get my white tiger costume.
Man, look, I heard they on clearance.
Before we even get into it, I gotta say it looked better in this episode.
Yeah, they definitely. You know what?
Like
let's talk about.
They got your letter.
2 seconds.
They watched last week's cast, is what they did. They watched it. They went back in post, and they're like, "Look, we gotta at least get a T-shirt and some jeans or something."
This one looked way better than you know what? I'll talk about the white tiger suit and the pilot for 2 seconds. Then I want to see where you're at because you weren't here for the beginning. So from watching,
if you think I'm gonna lay off Temu Tiger this episode, you're sorely mistaken.
So
y'all did him dirty last week.
No, Disney did him dirty. I didn't buy that suit. But no, okay, so now that we're 2 episodes in, or sorry, 3. Now that we're 3 episodes in, I'm not sure because I didn't do any research, but there's definitely a different team on episode 2 and 3 than on the pilot, right? Because episode 2 and 3 I like. In episode 1, I was like, "What are we doing? What? Huh?"
One word clears up all that.
Okay,
are you ready?
Go ahead.
Reshoots. Okay. Seriously.
Okay, gotcha.
Foggy and Karen weren't in the first. They weren't in the pilot because Feige's original thing was they were going to make Matt Murdock in Disney, i.e., She-Hulk and Spider-Man: No Way Home, a variant of Matt Murdock. And there wasn't going to be a Foggy or a Karen. And then somebody, I don't know who it was, but thank you, slapped Kevin Feige and was like, "Yo, the comics do these 2 characters dirty. We've been doing them good over here on Netflix. It's about the only thing that Perlmutter did right. So we got to bring them in because we're going to lose a third of our audience for this show if we cut those 2.
If you recast Daredevil, you got a problem. And then if you say this isn't the same Daredevil, you're probably going to have a problem.
Even beyond that, you can say this is a variant, but you can't just say Foggy and Karen disappeared off screen.
Right. They was just like, "Hey, I got tired of New York," even though that actually does happen in real life. People are like, "You know what? I can't do the city no more. I can't." Like, I mean, I even have family members that were just like, "You know what? I love New York, but I'm leaving."
Look, as somebody who lives in the hood, nobody wants to move to certain areas. People just end up in certain areas.
I feel you. So, all right, now
that's true.
Now I'm gonna throw it to Solar. For the first 2 episodes, what was your general feeling out of, I guess stepping out of that kind of cliffhanger that we got last week?
Okay, all right. So, my thoughts on the pilot, the stuff I couldn't get to you guys last week because I was stuck in the sweatshop. So the pilot itself, okay, episode 1, I was like, okay, you got Disney money, now stop experimenting. It was so very film school because I don't know if you guys used to watch Channel Awesome and stuff, but there was a dude named Film Brain on Channel Awesome, and every single time it would pop up, it would cut to him raising his arms in the air, going, "Symbolism!" And that first episode was just like, look, it's Fisk inverted with a halo. Symbolism! Oh, look, Fisk is overlooking the city in the same way Daredevil used to, and Daredevil's in the trenches and it's covered in smoke from somewhere. I guess the smoke from all those glam rock videos in the 80s finally hit it from all those glam rock videos that just had sparks everywhere. I guess the smoke finally caught up. So Daredevil's in hell, and Fisk is looking over hell in the same way that Daredevil used symbolism. You know, that's really what I saw from that trailer, or from the pilot. It was okay. They've switched places. They're inverted. You've got a budget. Yes, you can afford 3 smoke machines. Look, I've got LCD lighting as well, guys. You don't have to keep pushing the YouTube buttons. You know, that's what I was feeling as far as the production.
Boy.
As far as the production went, it's y'all ain't got to impress nobody. The audience is built in. We had 3 seasons of Daredevil, 2 seasons of The Punisher, and he was the best thing to come out of the Defenders. Stop trying to get new customers. You already got everybody you get. Okay, that's what I thought about the first episode. Real talk, I'm still waiting for a cameo from Jennifer Walters, but that's just me. That's just me. You know,
Hold up, Jennifer Walters. You mean
She-Hulk?
you really want her to show up in this?
Yes, I do.
Do you
Because
think?
I didn't mind that show.
Do you think she'll make sense? I mean, maybe. I guess maybe.
You know, and Marvel has always been kind of weird about relationships and stuff, so it would just be kind of nice of her showing up going, Matt, Jennifer, you know, even in front of the new girl going, was there something between y'all? Long story, it's cool.
That'd be
she's fine.
wild.
She's fine.
That'd be wild.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So you
that
see
that
what
would
I'm
be
talking
interesting.
Yeah.
But the second episode,
Okay.
number 1, see, I took your guys' format with the let's talk about the bad stuff first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because we already talked about Big Lots Calico Cat. So, well, White Tiger is already a generic Black Panther, number 1.
Yes.
So to give him another generic level below that, I'm like, man, you guys are mean. You know, at least he won't be from Talokan. But the stuff that I did like, was the script was really solid, even with the reshoots. You know, there's an old trope in writing that states, can you sum up a character in a single word? Okay, just one word. What describes this character? And Daredevil has always been in that same arena with Spider-Man, which is why they exchange bad guys so often, with guilt. Okay, Daredevil is Captain Guilty. He is so, I should have done more. All these powers and I couldn't save them. I know I'm beating up poor people at night and I feel bad about it, so I gotta go to confession. You know, so I like that it really showed that, specifically with the visual callback to the conversation he had with Frank in relation to Bullseye. With the, you're one bad day away from being me. And that day came. And I got to give it to the director on that one. He pushed Poindexter off that roof so casually. It was the opposite of a dramatic buildup. You know, and screaming and asking why. And then after that, he was like, I'm done. You know, and that had such emotional punch. I really liked it, specifically with us watching Dex hit the ground. Major props to the,
now I will say that him hitting the ground was serious.
Yeah, major props to the stunt department. Okay, major props, because that had better been one of those WWF spring floors at the bottom, because he fell in such a realistic way that there was no drama. We're not talking Alan Rickman at the end of Die Hard. We're not talking Captain Long Arms at the end of RoboCop 1. We're just going, fall, splat, done. And it's like, that's kind of what it really looks like. As someone who's jumped off a lot of roofs, because I was a kid in the 80s and that's what we did, don't judge me. That's really what it looks like when somebody falls and hits the ground. Just that. It's just fall, hit, that's it. That's all. So major props to that. The visual imagery of the horn popping off and it forming a D. I had my DiCaprio moment. I had that, so that was fine.
Let me ask you a question, Solar.
Yeah.
Does Bullseye have regenerative powers?
He does not. At least not at this point in the comics. He eventually gets bionics. Okay. Pretty much from having Daredevil beat him up. I was disappointed in Bullseye's costume. I really was. Because it's a simple costume. I get how you wouldn't want to use it too much because it's almost identical to the Punisher, except his emblem is really important to his character. Okay? The dude who can throw anything as a deadly weapon, from paper clips to Doritos, is in all black with a bullseye on his deadly parts. I mean, this is I don't want to get too Sam Jackson and Unbreakable here, but that costume is symbolic of his narcissism. In New York City, this bad guy and hitman is literally walking around in darkness with a big old bullseye right here, saying, I dare you to try. Like, I dare you to shoot me. And they took that off. And I'm like, guys, come on. You could have made it red. You could have made it an actual bullseye from a modern weapon. Could have even made it a dartboard as far as I'm concerned. But just putting him in a black mask, it's like, yeah, they put him in a black mask, but that ain't Dex. That's not not the main muscle to Matt's rival. His arch enemy has a right hand and it's Bullseye. And I'm kind of numb to hallway fights. Yeah, kind of numb to hallway fights. I think, and y'all gonna at me hard on this one, and I'm sorry, I am so sorry to all fans that like me coming in, but the fight choreography in action franchises has been getting so much better in the past 10 years that I think I'm just numb to it now.
Oh, okay.
Because the Daredevil hallway scenes, which is what they're legendary for, yes, amazing runners, except in this one. But still, amazing runners all the way across the board. But then you've got Arrow Season 1. You've got the whole John Wick franchise. You've got all of Asian cinema.
Yeah, you have a little movie that came out of nowhere. Well, see, for us, came out of nowhere. I'm pretty sure some people that knew the guy probably knew. But a little movie that I think costed about $1 million or so. Not too much. Probably the same y'all spend for a whole episode.
Talking about The Raid?
Talking about The Raid.
Yeah.
Movie comes out. My little brother is like, you got to see this movie. I'm like, what? I'm like, I put it on. I'm like, oh, man, subtitles. I got to read. All right, fine. What we got? And I was like, whoa. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. What?
Exactly. So we're kind of at this point where the hallway realistic super brutal fights for me are finally at a place in 2025 where bullet time was by 2003.
Okay.
It's kind of, they're everywhere.
It's time to I will agree. It's time to iterate on that. It's time to let's get out of the hallway or do something where maybe it starts in the hallway and goes somewhere else. Do something, throw a little salt on it. Throw a little pepper on it. Throw some maybe some cumin, some cayenne, something. Just give us something. Don't just be like, let's do a hallway scene.
That's kind of what brings us to this week's episode for me. Because I love the subway fight. I really loved the subway fight. Don't get me wrong. I was flashing back to Beach Street when I was watching it, going, somebody's gonna hit that third rail. You watch somebody's hitting the third rail, and then I was pleasantly surprised. They turned me for a loop, and the subversion of expectation hit me like a train. Uh, because it hit that cop with the train, and
Serious.
that was all good. But this last week's episode, no physical fighting,
Nope.
and I'm like, thank you.
So I want to throw it to Jay. We got no fights. No fights.
No fights.
Were you
Again, no
entertained
physical.
without fights?
Yeah, no physical.
Yeah,
fight.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
all.
I'm not talking about a war of words, but like there were no fights in this episode. Were you entertained? Were you still into it? How'd you feel about this episode, the hollow of his hand?
So let me put it this way. This week was not a bad episode. However,
Okay.
I have a
here
concern.
comes-
I have a concern.
Okay.
I'm not confident that the show has given us enough about where it's going that we are like on the edge of our seats. I need to come back next week. Now, the I'm not saying that the cliffhanger for this week was great. I love the cliffhanger for this week, right? Because it's like there's a lot there. But
Yeah.
this idea that we would 3 episodes in stop and go courtroom drama that matters to the rest of the show, but we're spending a lot of time on the courtroom drama. I'm like, but why do we spend this much time on it? Like, I'm not confident that I understand that portion of it, and nothing that Kingpin is doing. It feels like Kingpin has a plan, but they're not letting us into what it is. And so I'm torn between this, like, does he have a plan or does he not really have a plan? And like, what's going on? I feel like there's a little bit of, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to withhold information that will be revealed later.
Yeah, so
but
they could kind of surprise us, I guess.
yeah, so they can kind of surprise us. But I feel like it's actually making the show feel, to me, a little bit unmoored. In what is this show all about? That's my only complaint. So this is not a bad episode. The courtroom drama is good, but the courtroom drama, to put it this way, in Daredevil, the Netflix series was really good at this. If I know what the stakes are for every iterative piece of the story, and it keeps ramping itself up, I'm like, how can I leave? Right? Like, I got to be involved in this whole show. In this show, I'm not actually sure what the stakes are at all, right? Like, there's these indications that there's little things here and there that are going on.
Okay. Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's where I'm struggling with it. So good episode,
Well, yeah, go
but I don't
ahead.
know, you know?
I'll jump off of this with you. I agree. I'm watching the trial, and the trial is cool, and I'm entertained. I'm like, oh, okay, you can't handle the truth. Well, they didn't do that, but I'm just saying, I'm into it. But at the same time, if he gets convicted, so, and if he goes free, then so. I think
If I
all right.
yeah.
Well, I'll say this real quick. Then I'll give it to you, Solar. My bad. Then, if at that the coffee date that they had, Kingpin, if Kingpin looked in his face and said, "I'm getting rid of all of you.
Yep.
None of you will run in my city anymore," then we're like, oh, this season is about essentially kind of Devil's Reign, where Kingpin is getting rid of all the vigilantes.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but it didn't even really seem like Kingpin was interested in this case until maybe it was over. Then he was like, oh, I can kind of maybe capitalize on it. But
Exactly.
I was just like, all right, so this case, if he wins, that's good, because I mean we know that White Tiger didn't do nothing. And if he loses, then we're like, all right, well, this is kind of the system kind of chewing up people like they always do. But I don't know, what does Matt win from this outside of just like, hey, I want a case? Like, what does the show win from this? I see where you're going, but sorry, Solar, go ahead. Oh no, Solar's stuck.
So I was
right.
frozen.
He's frozen.
So let me pick up where you were at, because I totally agree with this. So I believe what episode 3 was trying to tell us is that Fisk is doing exactly what you suggested he could be doing, which is I'm going to eliminate every vigilante in the city. I'm going to essentially take it over. It's going to be mine. The problem is that you're 100% correct in saying that we don't know for sure if that's what he's doing. He kind of has mentioned it on the campaign trail. Like in other words, the stakes don't feel like they're there. It feels like he's just kind of talking about that as if it's a thing that he'd like to do.
Yeah.
But there's nothing about this that's like, Vanessa, I was beat up by one of these vigilantes. We can't have them taking over the city. They are prohibiting us from running our drug empire. We need to come in and we need to do this, and we're going to eliminate them, and we're going to do it a little bit underhandedly. I don't care how we do it. We're going to do it, right? The people are behind us. The people are with us. We're going to make it happen. And then if we were
like
to
the
say,
truth is what we say it is kind of thing.
yes. And then if we were to see there'd be some back and forth between White Tiger and Daredevil, and White Tiger's like, man, I can't stop doing this. This is a part of me that happened, but there's no way you can reveal my identity. Like, there's no way I can go there. Like, it just can't be a thing. Mm-hmm. And then Matt's like, yeah, but I can use it. Because the interaction around him revealing that it was White Tiger, that this guy was White Tiger, was like, man, that wasn't for you to do. And he's like, yeah, I know. It's like, no. It has to be, we have to feel it. We have to be like, oh, this guy's toast, right?
Screwed.
Like
his wife is in danger. Now people are threatening them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Also, when he goes to in the end of the second episode, when Matt goes to the apartment, and he has the fight scene at the end. That is a crazy cliffhanger that doesn't really feel like it matters in this episode.
Yeah, it's like because we were left going, did he kill those guys?
Yeah, are those guys dead?
Yeah.
And if they're dead, what are we doing with their bodies? How is he getting out of this?
Exactly. And then he came back and like, oh, there he is. He's got a black eye.
Yeah, he's just a little beat up. And I'm like, no, didn't he break a dude's arm through he broke it through the bone? What about the other,
Yeah. Again, the pieces are there. That's why it's not a bad episode. And there is drama, and that drama works, and we're building character and stuff like that. It's just that it feels like it's lacking a little bit of the intensity.
We're missing something.
Yeah. We saw the Punisher talking to Daredevil on a rooftop for 15 to 20 minutes or however long it was. And we were all like, holy cow, this is intense.
Yeah.
So
and in this episode, it's because maybe they're trying to pull back because they're like, okay, we don't want Daredevil to kill. Right. And I'm like, cool, I get it, but don't put him in that situation where it looks like he killed somebody, and then the next episode will be like, oh no, he didn't kill nobody. They just kind of really beat up.
To Solar's point, and you and I talked about this last week, him being guilty and being like, what should I do in these situations? What should I not do? We didn't see him having any kind of emotion about the fact that he just beat two guys up, not as Daredevil, but as Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
He didn't we didn't see any emotion from him in that.
There wasn't any worry that oh no. The story is going to be out that I'm not some frail guy.
Exactly.
Or not some kind of random, Joe Schmo. I've got some serious training.
Yep. And so you talked about the diner scene, right? Mm-hmm. Kingpin did tell Daredevil, I don't want to see any more vigilantes, but he knows that Daredevil hasn't been a vigilante in a year, right? Sure. So there could have been a warning coming from Kingpin to Matt, whatever you do, don't get back in the game, because I know that I'm taking over the city. And it feels like you're going to want to rise up and do something about that. But I'm telling you right now, don't do it. Yeah. Because if I see a suit anywhere near you, or if I see a White Tiger trying to mess up other people, it's done. So, and then there was the end. The other thing I thought was a little bit interesting too is they actually removed some of the tension from the scene because they started saying about how many cops loved White Tiger and how great he was to the cops. And I thought that was a little bit strange because it was kind of like, wait a minute, you built up all this tension, like the cops hate this guy, and now all of a sudden it's like, no, the cops don't hate this guy, the cops love this guy. Which
maybe
that's
if you
fine.
wanted to, maybe if you wanted to build up, what you could do is build up on the faction of these like Punisher cops.
Yes,
you could build on that
100%.
but you didn't really use that moment to do that.
Correct.
Maybe if you clearly identified the guys, and I mean you have with, you have tattoos here and there, but you haven't really done enough to create a distinction between like those cops that were like, no, White Tiger saved us and stuff or helped out, and like the Punisher cops that are like, it's just like
doesn't matter if you
absolute
save us, we
control.
don't care. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
because there was the one guy in the audience who had like what was it, a neck tat or something?
Yeah, the Punisher neck tat.
Yes, that guy was still like, oh yeah, he did help out. That guy shouldn't have been like that. That guy should have been like, I don't care.
Maybe even if you want to do it, maybe even if you wanted to do it where one of the good cops were like, nah man, he actually did help my partner and blah blah blah, and one of the Punisher cops saying, yes, I'm glad he helped your partner, but I don't care because we're the law and blah 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 blah. Judge Dredd, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah. Or I'll give you another one. I'll give you another scenario. Maybe the Punisher cops are cops that Kingpin is going to hate because they're acting too vigilante-like, right? So if that's the case, then have the Punisher cops sort of like figuring out, like, so for example, Punisher cops fight Matt Murdock in the apartment building, and then they go, you know what, that dude might have been Daredevil. Like he certainly is some kind of vigilante. Yes, like he's got to be.
He's not just a lawyer.
Yeah, exactly.
And, or maybe if we had a scene like you said where one of the cops tells some other cops like, yeah, this guy, he's not just some lawyer guy.
Right.
Like this dude has some skills.
Yeah,
real hardcore training, and I don't know how he's able to do it when he's blind, but this guy, he's not to be played with. And
do the Punisher cops? Why do the Punisher cops hate White Tiger? Aren't they sort of vigilantes themselves in a way? Like they're obviously idolizing Punisher, and he's a vigilante, right? Like I don't know. I don't have. So there's the pieces of the puzzle are on the table.
There's this track of Punisher fans that definitely bend. Guys, all comics are political, so everything is political. So here we go.
Yeah.
And I know that there are Punisher fans that are definitely white nationalists, white supremacists, whatever. So I can still see them saying, yeah, we do this, but we're cops. It's okay because we're cops. And, of course, we took an oath. It's like, yeah, but isn't, supposed to not have... Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that because I'm a cop, which essentially makes me everybody's daddy. And there are a lot of cops that are like that. There's like, basically, I'm your dad. No matter where I'm at, I can say you're in timeout or stand up, sit down, do jumping jacks. You have to do whatever I say, no matter what, because I'm your dad. And if you don't, I have a gun and you don't.
Right.
And, or if I have a gun and you have a gun, it doesn't matter because I have the full weight of the law behind me.
Right.
No DA is going to come out and defend you no matter what. You can have all of the audio, all the video you want, and the DA will still come out and defend me and demonize you. So it's our word against yours. It's we say what truth is, essentially. So I could see them saying, like, yeah, we do what Punisher does, but we can because we're cops.
Right.
We can do this because we're the authority over everybody.
Yeah.
And maybe have that attitude up against the other officers that were like, no, well, I mean, I don't know if I agree with White Tiger, but he saved my skin on like 2 occasions, or my partner was down bad, and if it wasn't for White Tiger, he would have been in some serious trouble.
Yeah.
So maybe having that, and maybe Kingpin saying, I need to win over the Punisher cops because I need my quasi brigade ready and willing and crazy enough to do whatever I want on the legal route, while I have my wife handling everything on the illegal route.
Right.
And then we kind of dovetail it together.
Yep.
So maybe that, but I know Solar had a point that he wanted to make like way before her. So,
Yep.
Before
Always
we get too
fighting up
far,
bad spirits.
yes.
I had so much. So,
All right, but go ahead.
back to the first point you guys were making. All right.
Mm-hmm.
One, they did show what Fisk had when it came to what he had at stake with this trial. He ran on a platform of no more mass vigilantes.
Mm-hmm.
And their little coffee date, they pretty much said that. They pretty much said, yo.
It just didn't feel that strong, I guess. But go ahead. Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
Okay. Jay, present company excluded, but they were talking white people language. That white people language of, if you tie your shoes a certain way, I will be forced to cage the canary. Well, if the canary is caged, I suppose we have to have peanut butter.
Newsflash, buddy.
Newsflash, buddy. Pop quiz, wise guy.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
I'm still trying to figure out do you want white wine or red wine with dinner? The proper answer is, baby, you're so good to me. I'm like, this is not the English I learned in school. It is the English that they were speaking on this show. And that if he was guilty, that means that the jury kept with the public sentiment that he was trying to build against people wearing masks and running around dressed up like spiders and wearing skulls on their chest,
Someone just needs to put a line in there about like, you just sound like a bad guy, right? Like whenever you talk, you sound like a bad guy. You sound like you're doing wrong.
Yeah, it's not like he's running on and today I'm giving tax cuts to all charities and free school lunches from Hell's Kitchen to Manhattan. That's just not the voice that you use for it.
No.
I was walking old ladies across the street after fixing potholes. And honestly, that is very much where they've compounded the whole Fisk thing, which I think is smart because it's also, since it's Disney and it has to tie in with the rest of the franchise, it's building anti-mutant sentiment. So that when the X-Men pop up, they're going to be like, you're not an Avenger, therefore you're bad and K. So it's like, oh, you've got superpowers. You're like what Fisk was talking about. And Fisk is going to encourage other politicians across the country to start towing that same line. Not to say they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, but that's kind of what he's doing. And this is kind of, I when I saw that in the first couple of episodes, I'm like, oh, that's how they're going to do it. I didn't go, brilliant, because we're back at the Sokovia Accords with the Vigilante Registry Act type thing. But they're laying the groundwork for at least America to hate superpowered people who aren't already in the Avengers. So that we have so once mutants enter this world from upstate New York, if you know, this is where they're going to be disenfranchised. You feel me?
Okay.
So, but they showed what he had on stake with the White Tiger trial. In the sense of, if the jury had found him guilty, then public sentiment would have been on Fisk's ticket big. Right now it's split 50-50.
And they found him not guilty on all counts. So
which is why he called BB.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question, Solar. I think that's everything you said is well said. I feel like I'm going to make the comparison to Civil War. Okay. In Civil War, it was Captain America, I'm standing up for my friend. Government shouldn't be involved in oversight of what we're doing. I'm going to stand on that hill, and I will fight on that hill. And then Tony Stark. Yeah, exactly. And Tony Stark, on the other hand, a guy who's struggling with self-control, is like, I actually need some oversight. I need some additional accountability, if you will. Mm-hmm. And it was like, there are two perspectives here that cannot coexist in the world of superheroes. I feel like what I'm missing a little bit of is that you pointed out, well, they kind of gave us that, but I feel like they gave us that at like a level 3 out of 10, and what I'm looking for is a level 8 out of 10. You know what I'm saying?
I understand that. Yeah. I understand that 100%, in the same way that I understand that it's cool that I won $200 in the lottery, but I really needed 30,000.
Right. Exactly.
Either way, you still won the lottery. And
yeah.
I gotta state on this because, yeah, when you look back at Civil War, which not my favorite Marvel flick, not my favorite Captain America flick. That is Winter Soldier. I'll die on that hill. Fight me. Don't care. Had my favorite scene. Not my favorite movie. Okay. Had my two favorite introductions. Not my favorite movie. But the problem that I have, and it's the same problem I've always had with integrating the X-Men into the rest of Marvel, is that anti-superhero sentiment should be set back to zero with every crossover event. Just yesterday I was watching a YouTuber sees Endgame for the first time reaction video. And it hit me. That happened in New York. That whole fight was in the middle of New York at the Avengers compound. Okay.
Yeah, but that wasn't like upstate. I mean,
still.
That's because I'm sure we all know, New Yorkers do not consider it. Look, don't lie, be honest. Anyone who's from New York City, do you consider Buffalo, New York? Be honest.
Okay.
Be honest.
That's like asking somebody from LA if they consider San Francisco part of California. Okay, it's this. I mean, there's
like New York, like when I say New York, I mean Brooklyn, Manhattan,
boroughs. Yeah,
when I say New York, I'm talking about these like 5 islands that sit together. That's it. Maybe Long Island. You might get Long Island in there.
You're about to get smoke. I'm just letting you know.
When New Yorkers say New York,
shouts out to New York. We all love New York.
If Wu-Tang didn't blow up, be honest, especially my Brooklyn people, y'all would not be counting Staten Island. And if Wu-Tang never ever blew up, ever, New York would be Brooklyn, Manhattan, because they got Harlem in it, and they would really be just calling it Harlem, and Queens. That would be
Don't forget the Bronx.
All my New York, the Bronx.
About to say, you're a bigger hip hop fan than me, and you're forgetting the Boogie Down Bronx.
Well, the Bronx has had their,
shame.
But y'all know,
shame.
Be honest,
shame.
So they're probably even. I mean, for where the end game happened, for New Yorkers, that might as well have been in Vermont. Like,
okay, all right.
But
my whole point is that every world-shattering event that the Avengers saves the world from should reset anti-superhero sentiment in the big cities.
You're right. You're right. Okay? Because they should be like, yo, man, if it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
Now, if we're talking 2 hours outside of Richmond, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
All right. If we're talking Carbondale, Colorado, I get it. If we're talking Crockett, Texas, or Indio, California, okay, I get it.
Get it. But the big cities,
if you got a bridge and more than a population of 2 million, the superhero thing shouldn't be on the radar. But that's always been my sentiment when it came to the X-Men. Okay, always, because it's like
every time the big savior comes, it should reset to zero. You're right. It should be like, hey, thank God Captain America was there. Thank God, the X-Men were there. Thank God.
And that's how the Avengers are perceived. It's like as soon as you get an Avengers card, you're one of the good ones. But if you're with the Invaders or the Defenders or the Great Lakes Avengers, that's you counterfeited this $100 bill. That's really what it is. But that's where Fisk is, because they are doing the Devil's Reign. They're doing Devil's Reign,
at least to a certain degree. It seems
plus
like
the Muse thing, because they
Which
did
is weird they call
Born
it Born
Again.
Again. Why not just call it Devil's Reign?
Because Born Again is the famous one, even though they already did Born Again in season 3.
You're kind of right.
They
Season
did all
three,
the major plot points except for killing Elektra. They definitely had Bullseye in the Daredevil costume killing folks.
Yeah.
And
That's
now
true.
that I'm back, in case I have another power outage, I gotta say I disagree with y'all vehemently on what you guys were talking about last week, because Frank Miller does not know how to write women well.
Wait, what did we say last week?
What did we say about Frank Miller?
Y'all went off about the Daredevil Born Again comic.
Yeah.
And that whole thing, his inciting incident, was Karen Page being a spun out, drug addled sex worker that sells Matt's identity for a hit.
Correct. But what were we saying that we were endorsing it?
You guys were like, yeah, that would be cool if Karen
it
was
would
this
make more
and Karen was
sense.
that. And I'm like, I need to be in that recording.
No, we were saying it makes more sense to do, because it's almost like they brought in Karen and we're like, just to be like, hey guys, she's exists.
Around. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what they did because of the reshoots. Because at this part in the Daredevil comics, as y'all know, he's technically dating the chick that he opened up the law firm with. Then he goes to the chick that he's actually dating in the show.
Okay.
And then he pieces out, moves to San Francisco, and starts dating Natasha. He starts dating Black Widow. And that ain't exactly happening right now.
I don't think Scarlet is ever coming back, because I don't think there's any prequel stuff that needs to be.
Even if they did, they only paid her $100,000 for her own movie. I wouldn't come back either.
They only paid. I thought that all got ironed out. They didn't all get ironed out.
The fact that she had to was reason enough not to come back.
That's true.
And besides,
by the way,
spent all their money on.
I don't even like the Daredevil Born Again comic all that much.
Okay, all right.
I was just saying that the Born Again scenario is so intense. That's the point I was trying to make. Like, the Born Again scenario is this crazy exploration of how you take a human being and bring them down to their most desperate place.
I agree 100%, and they did that in season 3. It's just
that's true. I forgot about that. That's true.
So
That's
I don't want to be super tacky and drop names and stuff like that, but I'm going to, okay? Because y'all know I'm in the D&D space and all that stuff. And I met Deborah Ann Wall at a D&D event, and I told her flat out that the writers of the Daredevil Netflix show, this was back when it was still on Netflix, they did a great job, because she is doing an amazing job at humanizing a character that I hated as a child. I despised Karen Page when I was reading Daredevil.
Yeah.
Because of the whole junkie sex worker thing. And after years and years of reading more and more Frank Miller stuff, I realize that if they do not have male reproductive organs and a penchant for violence, he shouldn't be writing.
That's true.
Okay?
That's true.
In the same way, Garth Ennis should only write cowboy stories, in my opinion. Miller should have a woman in the room. It doesn't have to be a Nora Ephron, doesn't have, but a woman in the room just to slap him in the back of the neck every time he goes Madonna horror little sister complex, because that's all he writes. Okay, that's all he writes. If you don't believe me, read the All-Star Batman. Look at what he does to Wonder Woman. Look at how he treated Cassie in Dark Knight Returns. Look at how he wrote Ellen Page. Look at how he wrote Noriko in the untouchable run on Wolverine that nobody could touch for 30 years. But the way that he wrote Lady Deathstrike, Elektra, Karen Page, Batgirl, who then turned into Catgirl, Wonder Woman and All-Star Batman, Wonder Woman and Dark Knight 2, Wonder Woman and Dark Knight 3. As soon as he's tasked with writing a woman,
I mean, he's the guy behind 300, so it's like just max testosterone. There's no
exactly.
estrogen going on anywhere nearby.
Look at the way that freaking Officer Lewis was tread in RoboCops 1, 2, and 3. He doesn't know how to write anything that isn't a hyper-masculine stereotype. And I will say, he's really good at writing hyper-masculine male stereotypes.
Right.
Okay, he's in the top 10.
Yeah.
But watch Sin City again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Sin City is
any changes to Karen Page to bring her closer to what she was in the comic book, I gotta say, Danae, no, my damies.
Yeah. That's totally fair.
The only reason we brought that up is because I also have to say Danae no to what was in when episode 1 too. I'm like, just leave her out. Just say she, because episode
I got
1,
faith that they're gonna bring her back later on. Because
why?
One, she kind of, and in the context of the Daredevil show, she kind of became the Punisher whisperer.
Yeah.
She did.
You know,
and we know Punisher is showing up. And now, I will say that
he's gonna have some words
with the Punisher showing up. I guess we could get on this at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Of course, most likely on Kingpin's word, but I'm sure the cops did not need any help wanting to do this. But White Tiger is killed, and as he's killed, we find out that it's another one of the officers or someone with the Punisher logo. We know it's definitely not the Punisher.
No,
so now I know why we see the Punisher in the trailer, because I'm pretty sure the Punisher's gonna be like, whoa, don't be wearing my logo or nothing.
Just like he was in the books.
Like, hold up. All right, y'all kill people on your own name. All right. Also, since I told Jay, I watched all of the Marvel Netflix semi-recently, like last year around October. And he's like, hey, look, I'm kind of cool. Like, the CIA, we cool. Me and the FBI, we cool. I fixed.
After making Jigsaw, he was good.
We fixed a couple problems. Everybody gone that need to be gone. We done solved a couple corruption things, and we out.
Yeah, so
and now y'all bringing me
fishing.
back into this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go garden.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go garden. It's just gonna be me and Thanos.
Man,
that scene, by the way, that ending is a 10 out of 10 ending.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The way that was done was awesome, because now, so what I was complaining about earlier was that the stakes weren't there, but when you realize what the stakes actually were, you realize that he was going to get killed. Like, I just wish there was a little bit of foreshadowing there, but that moment is a great moment because it fulfills all of the things that were discussed in the episode. It fulfills that Kingpin means what he means, but when he's going to get rid of the vigilantes, it means that the Punisher group is a really bad group because they made a hero of White Tiger. They were effective at that. And that Matt basically signed the death warrant when he came out on the trial and said, I want to win this trial and you're going to go do this. So all of those things ended up meaning something in the final moment of the show, which I thought was really good. And it sets up some more interesting
and then
concepts.
with the sounds of the forest or whatever, or the woods or the jungle or whatever. I was like, oh, so y'all gonna do that to us? Because honestly,
they are.
That's what you should have done. The second they said not guilty, it should have been a Delta flight to or Air Puerto Rico or what. Like, don't even stop at the apartment, because I have just upset the police, who essentially have a license to kill. If we're going to play this in a semi-real world, let's be semi-real. The police kill people and essentially nothing happens. Some dust is kicked up, but nothing happens. So let's go straight to LaGuardia
Yeah,
and
I
fly
agree,
out of here.
but I disagree as well.
You want to
Because,
stay? You want to stay in the same hood where the cops is mad at you like that?
I don't think he had a choice. Remember, he was getting the flowers himself on that fateful night because they just snagged an apartment.
Man, look.
They've been living with his family, and he finally managed to save up enough to get them a studio apartment.
He also
in
did
New
say,
York.
to be fair, he also did say he told Matt he wasn't going to stop.
Yeah, I
but
get that.
You
I
gotta go.
definitely-
You gotta move, man, for your family. For your family, you gotta move.
Yeah,
Like,
I
you gotta
agree.
get in your
But that guy
car,
was not doing
not
that.
go back to the apartment. Your sister or whatever can pick that up. At least go down. At least make the police have to work for you. Like move to
And-
Virginia. Make them have to work for it. That's a good
Yeah.
7-8 hour drive. At least go further. Move down to like Atlanta, maybe Tampa, something like that. You need to go.
Miami, head down to Miami. You
gotta go.
But I can't agree with the 10 out of 10 ending for one reason and one reason alone.
Ooh, hit me
Okay.
with it.
They did White Tiger dirty on that one. Okay.
Oh,
Because, well, just follow me here. All right. I already said he's a bargain basement Black Panther.
Mhm.
All right. Because really,
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
he's got super senses, hyper agility, a little extra strength, a little bit of a healing factor, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
If you can't move out of Hell's Kitchen because you're broke, I feel you. Okay. I ain't mad at that. But you don't go on patrol like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever.
Mm.
You may as well have just put the Bee Gees on because he's walking down the street like kick ass. Just
That's
like, hey. Oh, there's
Oh,
danger.
man.
He should be on the rooftops. He
yeah,
should be
kind of like
ducking
sneaking
through
around.
alleys.
Well,
There should be
but-
some attempt at stealth.
But here's the thing. Here's one thing I would say, though. Do you think, based on the end of the trial, where Matt walks through how many cops that he's actually helped out, do you think that he is in a place where he understands the implications of what the cops may or may not do? Because he doesn't know Fisk at all. He's not aware of Fisk. He's not aware of
he
what's going on
doesn't-
with Fisk.
I mean, outside of the news, probably not.
right. So
I gotta
guess
pull
what I'm
this card on you, my brother. He is brown and in New York and just beat the cops. So if he ain't gonna leave, he is savvy enough to know, especially since the character's a vet. Okay.
Yeah, but
He
is that
just
information in the show?
Yes.
But I don't know that it is in the show. I don't
No,
think
it is. And in the first episode, when Matt was painting him out, he was like, when he and Matt were talking,
Yeah.
and he hadn't told Matt that he was White Tiger yet. He talked about his time in the military,
Yeah.
and then he came home.
Right.
And he was getting his stuff together, and he and his girl had finally saved up enough to get an apartment, all that stuff.
Totally.
Okay, so he's a Latino in New York that just beat the cops.
I know,
Okay.
but are you putting that on the show, or is the show putting that in there? Because let me just say this.
Well,
'Cause-
how can I put this?
I see where you're. I
It's-
see where you're coming from.
It's kind of one of those things where if this show wrote a person of color in a bad neighborhood that beat the cops
Mhm.
and didn't know to keep a low profile, then these writers have no idea what they're doing.
But then, okay. So my only counter argument to that, because let me just say off at the jump, I'm with you. And I agree
And they do
that
have
would
that
be better.
little. They do have that little snippet from the BB thing.
They do have a little snippet from the BB thing, and they're so I feel so. Here's my feeling. This is the only reason why I'm pushing back. I feel like the show is being a little bit confusing on that front, and they could be a little bit more. They could press their foot to the gas on that front a little bit more. And here's why. Here's why I'm saying that. They made it a big point to have all of the cops in that courtroom, even the guy with the Punisher neck tat,
Yeah.
be like, you know what? Maybe this guy is all right. So if that's the case, and if I'm sitting in that courtroom and I'm the White Tiger, I might be like, yeah, he's kind of exonerated me because like all the cops feel better about me. The way he revealed who I am was done in such a healthy way. Now, I'm not saying that what you're saying is incorrect and he shouldn't still be watching his back like crazy, because he should, and that's evidenced in the final bit of it, right? But
Right.
I feel like the show foreshadowed him acting that way in a fair way. Is all I'm saying.
I see what
honestly,
you're saying. I see where you're coming from.
I see what
because
see
I
where you're-
am kind of putting my stuff
No.
on it, like you got to leave.
I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
that.
Literally get in a
I
car
just-
and just head south.
All right. What I can say, we always end up rewriting an episode whenever we're together.
I know.
Because
I
honestly,
know.
they could have spared 1 minute at a time somewhere in the show to show the argument between him and his girlfriend. Or between him and his wife.
Yes.
Okay? Because if
Okay.
he was kind of going, look, I'm exonerated and all that stuff.
Yes.
Every look on her face in that whole courtroom scene was going, oh my God, I married an idiot.
Yeah, true.
Because when he got off with not guilty, she was relieved, but there was still an undertone of, all right, you got lucky.
Yeah.
But
Super lucky.
unless I go down to Party City, get me a costume and a garbage bag full of chonklers, you ain't going out there by yourself, type of thing.
right.
You know?
Yeah. And then also we didn't, I mean, of course, this is the court, but I mean, of course, since, look, this is a TV show and we use this to, comment on real life at times and hopefully give y'all some kind of help in your daily lives. But I'd be remiss if I were going to let the DA stand up there and be like, oh, well, I mean, hey, he's bad because he's a vigilante. And, cops are right because they're right. And I'm like, is this the same New York? Is this the Amadou Diallo New York? Is this the Stop and Frisk New York? Is this the Abner Louima New York? Is this
Thank you.
let's not, I don't know if you want to open that door. You talked about Matt opening the door. I don't know if you want to open the door about the cops being right just for the sake of them being cops. I don't know if you
No.
want to do that.
Well,
either.
so
Not
can
in
I-
a place
can I-
of facts, and you're dealing with a jury that we assume hasn't been like played. This isn't like Runaway Jury where we see a scene where like, oh, we're working up the jury how we want it to be. Like, if these supposed to be just average New Yorkers, the cops ain't really been doing the most awesome job for the average New Yorker. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to open that door, Mr.
Well,
DA.
now I will give grace. Okay, I will give grace. Regardless of the mood that I'm in, I will give grace because you bring up a great point in the fact that this is a TV show.
Yeah.
This is a TV show written by people, and it's written by people for the most successful media conglomerate in the history of our species.
Yeah.
And so I'm willing to bet in that writer's room, there was at least one writer that's going, can we really kind of address? And the person who had just talked to corporate going, no, we got to set up the world for the next X-Men movie.
That
and
is
we
a
want to
great
make sure
point.
that people will
Holy
show
cow,
up.
That's a great point. Yes, that's a fantastic point.
Okay.
So-
I mean, because they open the door to a whole, you bring it up so perfectly, Mike, with is this the pizza rat New York?
Yeah.
Is this the Stop and
Yes.
Frisk New York?
Yes.
Is this,
Yeah.
so
Oh, the pizza
and
rat.
a writer going, all right, so which New York we talking about? What kind of police force are we dealing with? Oh, we're going to deal with a police force that's mostly the police force from Avengers 1 that gave Captain America an attitude, saw him beat up saw him beat up an alien and said, all right, cool, we got your back, Cap. Cool.
Yeah.
Because they're still stuck with and if we show New York cops as kind of a corrupt thing, is it mob corruption? Is it Hydra? It can't just be, this is how cops be. Because we're Disney and we want your money.
True.
Yeah,
I will
we
say
we already had in the corporate defense of Disney, we already had our corporate beef with that guy in Florida. So we're going to chill for a minute.
chill a little bit.
We're going to chill for a minute
Yeah.
because his boy, well, I guess not, but whenever they feel like being friends. I mean, sometimes Trump hate DeSantis, sometimes they cool, whatever. But now his boy, the president, let's cool off for a second.
Yeah.
It's cool off, especially since he's President Petty. He petty too, and he's not like sneaky petty. He like out in front street petty.
He's
So
like Thanos petty.
Yeah.
He's like sneak into your infant's room on its first birthday and steal its blanket petty.
yeah, it's like so let's cool it on like cops are all right except this special group of Hydra cops. Only
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
bad.
Here's what was
Exactly.
needed in my mind. Here's what's needed to
All right.
really nail what you guys are talking about, which I think would be superior. So I want to point that out. What you're saying would be better. They needed Jordan Peele. Like Jordan
Yeah.
Peele is
Oh
like
my God, yes.
so like the one thing that I'll say about Jordan Peele that he's just better than anybody else that I've ever seen do it. And I think it's because I'm going to make an assumption that I hope that I think he would admit this because I think I've heard him admit this. So I don't want to just like put this on him without saying it. But I think this is true because he's had influence from the black community and an understanding of the white community based on his family. He gets it better than anybody else. One of the things that I have loved about Get Out is that if you watch Get Out with a person of color, they start to pick up on stuff faster than you do if you're white. Like just be honest, right? They'll be like, "Oh, that's a thing. Oh,
take your
that's
word
a
for that.
metaphor." Yeah, and what happens is, what Jordan Peele is so good at is he gives you the little hint here, the little hint here, and everybody's realizing at different points what's going on. And it's magnificent. So that the whole catalyst for why he's doing what he's doing, everybody gets to that point where they go, "Oh, I get it now." But everybody gets to that point at a different stage of the film. That's what they needed in this show very badly, in my opinion.
So far, though, we're only at episode 3.
Now, how many episodes do we have? We're gonna need what 10 on this?
Let's call it
good
8
question.
because
Oh,
that
yeah.
has been the standard. 10 might be a good surprise.
I'm gonna look at that right now.
cool.
But yeah.
So with that in mind, I'll throw this to you, Solar. I want to know.
9 episodes.
Oh, so we're getting 9 episodes. So we got like a third out of the way. So to you, Solar, where are you? I guess where are you with the relationship between Fisk and Nessa? Nah, we call her Aunt Nessa. No, but
I am
but-
so glad
but
you
Nessa.
asked me that question
because
I ain't gonna lie.
I kind of like it.
I'm not
but
gonna lie.
I don't know.
That's the show that I want to watch.
Like I kind of like it,
Because-
but I don't know. It's something that I think I
I
might be missing in it.
I am loving it left, right, and sideways.
Right.
Because one, the Vanessa character has always been a little weird. In the comics, a little weird. In the Netflix show, a little weird. Again, back to Frank Miller's writing. However, what they did with Nessa, I didn't really see it a lot until Daredevil season 3. Okay. And I want a special. Okay. I seriously want a special. I want a special to show what the falling out was between season 3, Echo, and now.
Yes.
Because at the end of
Yeah.
season 3,
Yep.
Fisk fell on his own sword to save her, and he did it in front of her.
Yeah,
And they're not really showing what she's mad about.
yeah. It's not.
And
I
then
don't
she took
really-
over the family business, and she made it go. Now, back in my day, long time ago, when I was still into them animes, this was before they got popular and I fell off. Not because I'm a hipster, but life got in the way with me having to, have a job. There was a manga called Sanctuary. And it was about 2 brothers who grew up on the back streets of Tokyo.
Okay.
And they said, we are going to take over this country and we are going to fix it. And they made a vow to each other from that point that one was going to fix it from the top with politics and the other one was going to fix it from the bottom with organized crime.
Wow,
Mm.
that's
And
cool.
it is
I like that.
it is a great it's a great manga. And when I look at the Vanessa and Fisk relationship there, I see that that's where they could go because she's running the heck. Haha, I stayed family friendly. She's running the heck out of Fisk's underground business. Everything is running smooth like a machine. She's got the money laundering down. She's got her guma. She's got the laundering thing down to a T with the whole art world, and she's got no reputation for crime, and she is
Not at
rocking
all.
those white dresses. Okay,
Yeah.
so she is now the queen pin all the way across the board. Okay, and if they're trying to run it to where that's what Wilson wants, but it looks like they're running it like, no, you got out, you changed plans, you didn't talk to me about it, now you're pulling me off of what I'm good at doing and what I like doing to follow you.
Yeah,
You
'cause
left.
we don't know why she doesn't like him, and furthermore, we don't really know why she doesn't want to be around him.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be different if she's like, hey, I can't be at all, press events, but she's at none of the press events. And the one that we did see her at, she's not even beside him, and it's like, yo, you know the name of this game. Like, y'all have to be like side by side. And like she said, you're traditional voters. Oh, you mean the people that be going early voting? You mean the people that want to see someone married? Which, I mean, I'm not against. I'm all for marriage. Look, if y'all love each other, go and get married. Don't waste your time. Get married. Hold on to that hand. All right, walk through life together. But still, I mean, unless you doing evil, don't do that.
No, I'm right there with you.
But
I want to see that show.
she, it seems like she would have been appreciative of the way he fell on his sword for her, unless you want to tell us that she saw that as the greatest sign of his weakness, and from that moment she lost all respect. But let us know that. Maybe
Well-
let her finally blurt that out right before the lady comes back in. And when maybe he'll say something like they'll talk a little bit, and then she'll leave out. He'll be like, can you excuse us, we just want to speak for one moment. And maybe he can turn to her and be like, you want the old me back? You got him. And then be like, but then when you got him, our very next scene is lover boy. And then
Yeah.
Fisk is back, baby.
Oh,
No,
she
yeah,
wants him to do that so bad, though.
I think she does.
Yeah,
I think she does.
And now we're back at that whole white person neurotypical language, because it was like, don't kill him. I'm not that mad anymore.
Don't kill him.
know? And it was like, exactly. Oh no, do not kill him or throw me into the briar patch. Whatever you do, I mean, I don't know if that's really where it was going. That part kind of went over my head because neurotypical white person is not my first language. What I need, and I'm right there with you. Like, I didn't see her thinking that him falling on his sword to save her was the weak thing that he can do. What they keep hinting at was sometime between season 3, Echo, and his return, they had a falling out. It was either, because she said, I was at your hospital bed every day, and then you left. And if it was I didn't want you to see me like this, because I decapitated a man with a car door for embarrassing me in front of you, and her going, you moron. I'm your ride or die, and you left. If they were to have that conversation,
or maybe something like with the you left for that stupid girl that I told you wasn't worth anything in the first place, or something. Maybe set up and we talked about Jay. Remember it? So I remember we talked about this during Echo, where I was like, so where was Vanessa when this was going on? Like, was she around for any of this? So maybe the falling out could have been.
Hang on, link right
Echo.
there.
Oh yeah.
Watch that episode right here.
So maybe there's a moment where Vanessa was like, she's more trouble than she's worth. She's going to continue to be trouble. Leave her alone. It's got nothing to do with New York. Who cares? Just send a team to kill her and let it be done. You know, and him going XYZ far, he gets shot, and then basically her being like, I had to do this. I had to be at your side, which I don't mind being, but I had to be there because of this girl that I already didn't like, that I told you that I didn't like, that I told you to leave alone, and that you couldn't leave because you thought you had a surrogate daughter, and maybe that could be it.
Because you
But
didn't
we don't
listen.
get that.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. But Loverboy's dead. I think Loverboy's dead. I don't think Loverboy makes it out of this season. We've never even seen him, so you know he dead.
Well,
He gonna be off screen dead.
I think we might have seen him in Echo or Hawkeye for a hot minute. It's just those are the
Yeah.
two Disney Plus shows that nobody remembers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hawkeye was
That's true.
Hawkeye was okay. It was okay.
But yeah, do
was
you
alright.
remember? Do you remember the jumpsuit bros? Come on, bro.
Yeah, dude. So
I couldn't pick him out of a lineup.
I just remember
really could.
I remember the conversation between Hawkeye's mom and, well, I guess new Hawkeye's Kate's mom and herself about the whole deal with Kingpin. And because she was like, you're so bad, mom, this, that, and the third. And she's like, yo, your dad died, and then this bald head dude shows up and says we owe him. Like, and he's you don't tell this guy no. But with that also with that said, you knew your husband was making money. This and let's be for real. There's a whole bunch this in the rich sea communities and in the hood. You know your son pay all your bills. He ain't got no job. You don't ask no questions, but you know he ain't got no job. But your refrigerator is full and your bills are paid. So you don't never ask what he does. Same with her. You live in this nice place. You know your husband, though. You know he ain't got no W-2.
Feel free to repeat this in harmony, but to be fair, to be fair, have you not seen The Godfather Part 2?
No, I actually haven't. I've never seen any of the Godfathers.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a spoiler where Diane Keaton looks at Al Pacino and saying, "No, I'm divorcing you and I'm taking the kids." And you know what he says?
What'd he say?
He says, "Kate, you know me. Do you think with all my money and all my power, I would ever allow that to happen?" Okay, when dudes like that show up and they paying you, they keeping your fridge full, they buying your son Jordans, they doing all that. That, my friend, is the carrot. There is no in between.
So I did understand her mom when she was like, your dad died, and after his funeral, this dude showed up. And I'm like, yeah, but at that point, Kate,
you want to know?
Yeah, your mama is wrong, but
No, you want to know?
I kind of get it.
Look, if you are on the crime level of doing work with Kingpin and able to live in the Wedge building that was both blown up in the Avengers and is the Continental in John Wick, if you are caught up in so much crime that you have enough money to live there, you know what a divorced spouse is? It's a loose end, my friend.
Yeah.
That's somebody that could talk in 6 months.
Yeah.
All right? They are in.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to know where you get your money. Yeah, I think Morgan Freeman said it best in Batman Begins. If you don't want to tell me what you're doing, then when I'm asked, I don't have to lie.
Yeah.
True.
Here's my take on Kingpin and Vanessa. So we know that Vanessa was outside of the crime sphere when they met.
Very much so.
Yeah.
She got involved with him. She started to be very intrigued by him. She started to realize all of who he was, and she started to realize this dude is better at what he wants to accomplish, and he has some goals. So I'm going to tie myself to him. And I think what this show is kind of saying, and they're kind of being blunt about it by the fact that she cheated on him, is she doesn't respect him anymore. she's basically like, I don't know what your plan is, but you seem weak to me. And you seem so weak that I went out and cheated on you, and you don't even seem to care about that. That's not the guy that I got with 2 seasons ago. What's going on here?
Because the guy that I got with killed a guy because we were interrupted.
Yes, exactly.
So
So to me,
You kill
this
a
is
guy, decapitated a guy with a car door.
exactly.
It's not just that it's the how.
Yeah.
So like those relationships where it's like, for some reason something happens to the guy and he loses all of his confidence, and that confidence may have been arrogance. Well, this is, I helped build that confidence up. You've lost it. You're not the person that I know and respect, and therefore I think what Vanessa's doing is she just keeps poking the bear to see if she can get the bear back. And
I can see that.
I think, and by the way, Solar's solution to that problem is phenomenal. If they can take it and say like, no, we're in this at the high level and we're going to do it the government way, but we're also in this at the low level, we're going to do this the crime way. I mean, that would be amazing. And I hope it goes that direction. And gives, I think Kingpin needs to get from Vanessa a goal that we understand. That's not just revenge on vigilantes because he was injured by one. But that is something else, right? That is, I want to control the city because I want to be the best that there is at this. I'm going to be the union boss and the mayor and the crime syndicate leader, and I'm going to be all the things, right? If we go that direction, it clears up a lot of things for me, and I'm hoping that they do go that direction.
I do as well, because how can I put this? I can see Vincent D'Onofrio and all of his years of training give a very sinister pile-like grin at Charlie Cox when it's like, no, you've been doing the Kingpin crime stuff. In truth, it hasn't been me. And I know that you won't treat a woman the same way you treated me. You know, saying, hey, little Catholic boy, you're not going to beat a woman half to death for doing all the things I said that I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because deep down, you are a good person.
That'd be awesome.
And deep down, she isn't. So you might want to call in your ninja ex-girlfriend or something. Because I know you're not going to take her down. And that right there is mastermind. You know, that right there is the, I've given you a problem you can't punch your way out of. So I think that would be amazing. But again, I read a manga back in '96, and I'm like, maybe could this be? Oh my God, it's almost setting. And and if they come to that realization, like, I hope in the next episode or the one after that, Fisk and Vanessa sit down to dinner, and Fisk finally says, "Okay, look, here's the plan. Like, I know I kept you out of the circle.
Yes,
I know you don't respect me, and all that other stuff." Yes. Oh, by the way, I got you a new tracksuit. You know, and I even got you some basketball shoes to go along with it, because I was always the man that you married. It's just, and he said this, my eyes are on loftier goals.
Right.
And because I've been watching a lot of TV with great relationships. Okay, and I mean this, like a lot of really healthy partnerships, like the kind I see when I hang out with NERDSoul and Lady Lisa. And I'm like, I need to see more of these in TV. You know, that's what I need to see. You know, just two partners doing the partner thing for a common goal. And right now, Fisk and Vanessa, if they have common goals, it doesn't look like either one of them sees it.
Yep.
Nah.
But I like them because a dude like Fisk finding what looked to be a ride or die like Vanessa gives hope to the rest of us. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, it's...
A lot of times I think maybe I should decapitate a guy with an SUV door. I don't know.
There's part of me that kind of wants to see a scene where they're similar to when just before the psychiatrist or psychologist, one of them came back in. And
marriage counselor
comes back in and maybe bubble up to the point to him being like, you know, what do you want? And then her just yelling at him like,
want the
I
man I
want the
married.
monster. I want something like that.
Yeah,
And then maybe him being taken aback for a second, and then settling and being like,
Oh, okay.
understood. And then maybe the next episode we open with, kind of like a newsreel of like New York has changed or begun to change, because now he's definitely putting a heavy hand in with Vanessa on the crime.
Okay.
And he's
Jay?
also controlling the cops and stuff.
Yeah.
And then maybe
Jay, back me in
forcing
this.
Daredevil's hand to do something.
Okay. If the episode ends like that, which is, what is it that you want? I'm doing everything. I want the man I married. And then the next episode opens up in a kitchen.
Yep.
And he's making a regular omelet, not just the egg white omelet. And he grabs the white suit.
Yeah.
And he sits down to the table and he sprinkles the chives over the French omelet. And then he sprinkles the chives over a second French omelet. And he puts the plate down to her in her white dress and him in his white suit.
Ooh,
and then
epic.
hard cut to Matt.
Yeah.
Eating
dude.
a bagel.
That's better than what I was going to say, because what I was going to say, that's way better than what I was going to say. I'll tell you what mine was, just because it's not as good.
Don't you dare tell me I'm a good writer.
Yeah, no, you're amazing. I thought to myself, the setup is I want the monster back. He realizes this lady, the counselor, can't know that this is going on, and he just chucks her out the window. But yours is much better and more subtle. So I like yours.
You could amend that scene with maybe she hears the monster, this, that, and the third, and then he's like, he's like, they're like, we've worked this out. Thank you so much for helping us get to the point. And her being like, well, I guess whatever. They leave as she's wrapping up papers. Two guys walk in, and then there's a newsreel of
you could do it that way.
Shrink that jumped out the window.
No, I can't agree with that, because we're getting a little bit like the monster is still there.
Yeah.
Okay. The monster eats a cheese,
and I need the lover boy to die. Maybe he's got to get a car door. Maybe they run over him or something. Something's got to happen to him.
No, I mean, I don't see her flying out the window and stuff, because that was never really Fisk in the first place. He only hulked out when he was afraid of looking bad in front of her, or when Matt pushed him too far. Now, if it's the next time that you see Fisk and he's saying, "Thank you, doctor, your services have been amazing," all this other stuff, and then in that neurotypical white person crime lord voice, and of course everything I disclosed is covered under doctor-patient confidentiality, of course.
And those extra papers he had to sign.
In that way of saying, if it's not, come see me at my office while they're redoing the walls and everything happens to be coated in plastic, kind of way.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
Kingpin is an intimidator first. That's one of the reasons that nobody can ever catch him.
That's true.
Is because he implies a lot.
Yep. That's great.
Oh man! Well,
No, that scene was perfection. The one where he's making her an omelet and they're both in the white.
Well, thank you.
Ideal.
Thank you very much.
I like that.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, so I'll throw it over to Jay. Jay, final thoughts, and where can they find you?
Final thoughts. I think that I enjoy our conversations a little bit more than I enjoy the show, but I still enjoy the show. I think it's a good show. I think this episode was better written than the first episode, like you said, Mike. But I think that I still want to get to. Even if you so in a story. Even if the characters don't have strong goals, we still need an indication of what their strong goal should be. And we're just rooting for them to get that strong goal in there. So, for example, Luke Skywalker. I kind of want to be a part of the Empire, right? I want to go fly planes in the Empire. That's not the goal we want for you. And I don't want to leave because I and Uncle Owen are here. Like, no, they're dead. Like, you need to leave. Okay, now I'm gonna embrace the fact that I could be a hero for the galaxy. Okay, great. So you can kind of get us there. What I'm not getting from the show yet, though, this is why the stakes aren't there for me, is I don't know what the goals are and what happens if they lose. And I need to know that sooner rather than later. I need to know these are the goals, and if I lose, this is what happens to me if I lose. So that's the only thing that I'm rooting for, because everything else is there for me. Everything else is positioned in such a way. And by the way, I don't think you can write a Punisher story where he doesn't have a goal and isn't super intense about it. So as soon as they bring in the Punisher, probably all of this will be solved. But I'm just saying we need to get to that point, because I'm not quite there yet. So that's my only comment. Otherwise, I like the show. I like talking about the show with you guys more than I like the show. But maybe that'll change. I don't know. You can find me talking about movies and talking about storytelling and trying to become a better storyteller in that process over at How Stories Work with Jay Shear. My last 2 videos were about Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is my favorite film. In fact, it's on the wall behind me right here, poster. But just talking about how good Steven Spielberg is at directing and trying to learn a little bit from him.
All right. And Solar?
So honestly, I think this show is finally starting to catch its groove. It's finally starting to meet its feet. I understand 100% why Jay wants to see from this show what he wants to see. Because, how can I put this? Daredevil as a property has always been a cross between episodic adventure and meandering self-flagellation. I mean, those are really the 2 themes that Daredevil has always gone down to. Mm-hmm. Where Spider-Man, and yes, I will keep bringing up these 2 because if you know, you know. If you don't know, understand that these 2 are push and pull in comics and has been since Daredevil was first made. Okay? Because Matt Murdock is the dark side of Peter Parker. And when Spider-Man stories are episodic adventures, and I think it was Jim Butcher when asked, Jim Butcher is the author of the Dresden Files, my favorite pulp novel series right now. And man, am I waiting for part 16. And when asked, Spider-Man or Batman, he said Batman, because at his core, Batman is James Bond. And at his core, Spider-Man is Charlie Brown. Okay. And Matt Murdock, I don't know if there's a sadder character, like a more tragic character in the Peanuts than Charlie Brown. But like Spider-Man, the whole Spider-Man Daredevil dynamic has always been like Charlie Brown and Pigpen, you know. Again, Pigpen is probably a decent dude, but he ain't got that much money. He's from the wrong side of town. He's always dirty. Nobody understands him. You know, he doesn't get a whole lot of feature in Charlie Brown's stories. You know, but again, they still exchange cast members and stuff. And I'm saying this because Punisher, Kingpin, the Owl, and there was one other Daredevil villain that were all Spidey's first. And then I think it was Romita had a mandate that all of Spider-Man's villains were going to be animal themed, and all of the weird ones went over to Daredevil because he lived in a bad neighborhood. But given that, it's his Catholic nature, the fact that him doing good is doing good by what he considers sin. It's that's where his self-hatred comes in, and that's always stirring up, because I'm supposed to be a good altar boy, but also I'm kind of a ninja assassin, and I'm a lawyer, and I'm doing good by the ways of the law, but I'm also a vigilante, and I beat up people when I lose the case. You know, that push and pull with Matt.
Okay.
And I'm saying that because the whole Luke Skywalker thing of I want to do this, and then Call to Adventure and all that other stuff. Matt's whole thing, he's much closer to a Constantine type character in the sense of he's addicted to the thing that he's doing and it's never going to lead to anything good, but he can't stop. And that was what I definitely saw from episode 2 because, you know, my power went out, so I couldn't, you know, when it was, nope, doing this by the law. I'm saving the witness. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm doing this. And now the cops are beating me up. Well, you know, I was trying. I was trying to keep them horns in. But let me show you guys that my superpower is actually that I can see. And you know, so it was like, all right, now you're beating the crap out of me because you're big, bad New York cops. Like, dude, you don't know where I've been. You know, my ex-girlfriend is a corp that was resurrected by a ninja cult that I beat up. You know, so yeah. So again, it's back and forth. So all of this is to say that whatever Matthew Murdock wants, he can never have because he'll always tear it down himself. You know, he had a good relationship and a good friendship with Karen and Foggy. And he messed that up by putting the costume on. And even in the first scenes of the pilot, when he took the costume off and stopped doing the whole thing because he finally put Fisk behind bars, and Fisk went to go talk to his mentee, and she was mad because he never learned ASL. He's like, we got the whole thing going, we got all this, and the consequences of his actions killed his best friend. You know. And now he's trying to run away from it. And he's trying to run away. And then the White Tiger case comes about. And the White Tiger thing is somebody stepping up in Hell's Kitchen because Daredevil left. You know, so I know you haven't seen the Godfather movies, Mike, but the moment he thinks he's out, they pull him back in. Hooah! You know, so that's really where this show is probably going. Because that's the whole nature of the character. And if it has that normal story arc where this is the pull and pull with the character and he makes peace with it, and he used to think Daredevil was the disease, now he's the cure, and hey, devil out, then there's no more show. You know, he can't come to terms with the Daredevil in the same way that Bruce Banner came to terms with the Hulk. In the Marvel universe, you know.
I totally agree, and Luke Skywalker is a bad example. But what I was just using that example as a give him a goal. You know what I mean?
I get exactly
totally agree
what
with
you mean.
What you said about Daredevil and his character is 100% accurate. It's why I love the character, to be honest, because it's because to me the Daredevil character is the human condition. Right? It's the thing that I want to do, I don't do, and the thing that I don't want to do, I do. Right? Like it's that whole thing.
And I'm good at.
Exactly.
I'm good at the thing that's bad for me.
Yeah. I just want to know what that fight is. I want to know what that internal fight is because that internal fight is not obvious to us right now.
And again, I'm in a weird spot with you on that because that was the first 3 seasons.
It was,
you know, especially season 3. Yeah, you know, where he meets his mom.
Maybe that's why I feel maybe that's why I'm at odds where Daredevil is now, because I thought we kind of had a breakthrough in season 3.
And that's very much the thing. He had a 100% complete story arc in the Netflix series. Okay. Just like he had very much a 100% story arc in the Born Again and Man Without Fear series.
Made it all the way around. Man Without Fear does come after Born Again.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, I think Man Without Fear comes after it, but I can't remember.
Directly after.
Okay, cool.
Because that's how it wraps up when it was in Born Again, he does all that stuff, comes to thing with Karen, and then all that stuff happens, and it states Kingpin took everything away from me, and now he's coming after my hope. And what he doesn't understand is that a man without hope is a man without fear.
Mm-hmm.
Again, read those words when I was 13. And I'm like, okay, yeah. You never go to combat with somebody that doesn't have anything to lose. You will lose every time. But when you think about it, from Man Without Fear, okay, so you got Born Again and Man Without Fear. What was a memorable story arc between Man Without Fear and Devil's Reign that wasn't a retelling of his origin story? I mean,
I see
you've
what
got
you're
Elektra
doing.
Lives, which they did
Yeah.
in the Defenders. So I mean, and you know, after Devil's Reign and stuff, when he takes over the Hand and becomes like the big dude in the Hand, and you know, he kind of goes to war with Kun Lao and all that other stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff that can come down. But on the street level thing with Matt Murdock, we've seen his story arc with everything that we know. So the writers have to come up with something different.
Yeah, maybe.
And then
But I'll
comes
say that.
Devil's
I'll say that
Reign.
for mine. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, then comes Devil's Reign, and then of course comes the Muse story arc. So we're building up to something. But as far as Matt having goals and stuff, it's one of the reasons that old metalhead me doesn't really want another Ozzy Osbourne album. He won. He's got like nothing left to write about.
Right.
You know? So I think, however, killing Foggy, great place to start. Karen leaving, another place. So now we're building the new Matt who's going, okay, I won. I'm out. I don't have to go back in. Wait, what are you telling me that I got to go back in? Like, it's hard enough for me not to go back in. All right, because I really want to punch someone sometimes. You know, and now you're telling me you don't want to leave me with the choice not to punch someone? You know, so I mean, quite honestly, I see the writers in this going one of two directions, and both of them can be good, which is Matt gets dragged back in, hopefully because of the Muse, or it might be named Daredevil Born Again, but it's really about Kingpin and his journey into accomplishing power. You know, but that's hard to tell. Either way, I'm strapped in, and I want to see what story they give us. Chances are, I can think up something I would have rather have watched, but I watch TV to see what people who get paid to do stuff are paid to do, even though I can't get that job. But I want to see what the people who have the job and what they do. So far, I'm liking it. I think it's solid. It is no Daredevil season 3. However, besides Endgame, Daredevil season 3, and Captain America Winter Soldier, what do we want from this show? Because I mean, we've got those 3 things, and it's very much nothing that we have is gonna measure up to that stuff. But what we've got is we've come to a point now where Marvel Entertainment is running everything like comic books. And some comics are great, some comics are terrible, but the comics are always coming. We know they're gonna be there on Wednesday. So I'm happy that Daredevil is back. I'm happy that it's gonna be there on Wednesday. And we'll see how this story arc goes. I see myself finishing it. I see myself finishing out the season. And I'm at this point in my life where once I stop caring, I turn it off. I don't condemn it. I don't do any of that stuff. I haven't watched One Piece because I don't care. I started listening to an audio drama series, got to like episode 1164, noticed the pattern, stopped caring. So I don't know how it's going to end. I can guess, but I don't know how it's going to end, and I don't know how they get there, and I don't care enough about the characters to keep watching or to keep listening. But with Daredevil, where it's going with Born Again, I still care. I still care. There's a couple of things that got me interested, like the relationship between Vanessa and Wilson. I want to see what's going to pull him back into the costume before Muse, and I'm really waiting to see what the Punisher has to say about these cops, because I read those Punisher comics, and
And it's
you know,
about time. We need to shake this season up. And I know we're only 3 episodes in, but I feel like it's time to shake it up.
Yeah.
and if in my dream scenario we get the cameo from Sebastian Stan, that would be amazing. You know,
That
because
was
I want the Punisher to meet Bucky anyway.
Hmm.
Because Punisher idolizes Steve. And, you know, Steve Rogers is the Captain America that looks at the Punisher going, hey, knock it off. And he's like, you got it. You know, he doesn't argue with Steve Rogers. But, you know, Chris Evans is done. He's old man Cap. And he won't be getting the rejuvenation formula that comic books are known for. So he's not going to be hit with gamma pills or anything like that. But I would love to see if Sebastian Stan makes a cameo on this show to have a talk with Frank and Matt, especially since he's running for Congress and he's from Brooklyn. So I mean that's there. I hope I don't get a cameo from Tom Holland. Because Tom Holland's Spider-Man I don't think would be very good with Charlie Cox's Daredevil. Because Spider-Man in the Marvel Universe so far is still very bright and light. So, you know, him having to deal with the New York that we all know, which is where Daredevil is set, I think that's a little more than Tom Holland's character has been built up. You know, I don't see him going Mr. Stark, Mr. Stark.
Yeah.
But so far, I can think of all these things, and I want to see what they did. You know, now that they got some money behind the show, I really want to see if their new well of resources gets in their way or augments what they want it to do. Because I remember the first time Sam Raimi got a budget, didn't like what I saw. You know, I'm like, dude, here's a can of Vaseline, a terrible film camera, a 2x4, and a distant location. Make something I love. So yeah, but if you guys want to talk about more of that stuff, you guys can find me at twitch.tv/BID_P and on the Solar Grey YouTube channel. And of course, you guys can find me here when we're talking about shows like them Star Treks and like them funny book properties, and of course, them Star Treks, and of course, them Lord of the Rings, and whatever else Mike feels like having me on to cover. So I don't know if have we even started with the whole Voices of Wakanda thing yet, or is that after Daredevil? Because I know Disney only likes to do like one universe thing at a time.
Yeah, I think they only do. I think that's later. I can't remember when that's slated for. So I'm not sure yet. I think Andor is next after this.
Okay, Andor season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andor season 2. Okay.
And I think is season 2 supposed to be his final season?
It should be, because then we should be caught up with Rogue One.
Yep. Exactly.
So yeah. But yeah, so that's where you guys can see me. And while I'm at it, like and subscribe.
Oh yeah.
This guy sets up way too much to try and get all, like, because of internet magic, y'all don't know we're in 3 parts of the United States right now.
Yeah, 3 time zones.
We're fighting
together.
time zones.
That's right.
He's got a kid that should be asleep right now, and he's sitting up here with us. And the least you guys can do is sit up and click a button. Just one little button. Just the subscribe button.
And it helps. Yeah. I mean, YouTube says it helps. We all know.
And when you come see me on Twitch, you should subscribe with your Amazon Prime gaming account, because it don't cost so much. And when you're looking at J stuff, because quite honestly, guys, all of us here, we do this. We this is what we do. This is what we do, and we love talking to you guys about it. So, and if you want to talk to me about this a little more, just pop down to the Twitch channel or leave a comment. I do return. I do reply. And shouts out to all y'all that tell me to do better, because I love when people disagree with me. I'm like, I can have a discussion with someone. No, he's just calling me stupid.
Oh boy. All right. Well, I guess final thoughts for me. 2 and 3 are better. I really want to see what Frank has to say. I also want to see what Frank has to say about Daredevil not suiting up anymore.
Mm.
So yeah. But with that said, guys, thank you for coming through. Whether you watch 1 second or all the seconds, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Black Sky, Blue Sky, Twitter, TikTok, whatever, all them things. Just find me
Blue sky
and
is
say
the
what's
thing,
up.
isn't it?
Yeah, I guess. So, with that said, until next time, make sure that you just look both ways before you cross the street as White Tiger. And we're just saying, peace.
See you guys.